Hey everybody, Steven here playing Subnautica Below Zero, and today I'm going to showcase how to find the Snowfox base with the latest Frostbite update, which updates the story, but it also completely changes the Glacial Basin. So I'm going to do this a handful of different ways and try to give as much information as I can. I'm currently in the kind of bay area that you crash land at, just looking straight out. So if I'm here looking out, the Rocket Island is actually right over here. You kind of see the tip of it right there, hard to see, but that's directly south. We will be heading like southwest, kind of west, to run into the Glacial Bay, and then from there we will end up heading south and running into the Snowfox base. So I'm going to take off the weather so we can see it just a little bit better, and then I am going to go into free cam mode. So one of the easier ways to do this is essentially follow this wall as best you can, and you'll eventually run into it. That can be kind of confusing because once you get underneath this area over here where there's actually one of the data drops, and I believe it's for the compass. I think they've actually changed that though. But you have these icebergs over here. It'll signal that there's a Dropbox cache over here. And you have all these icebergs. So once you're under there, you actually run into some brinicles, which that kind of sucks to navigate through because you can freeze. But in general, if I do follow this wall, eventually you're going to come to this opening out here. And in this kind of pocket area back over here, you'll run into the Glacial Bay. From there, it's a multitude of different tunnels. I think there's 3 that you can potentially take that'll take you to the Snowfox base. And I'm going to go a little bit faster. So this is where I want to end up in terms of my world position here. For those that know, if you press F1 on PC, it's negative 960 for the most part by 10.4 by negative 326. So as long as you can find this, right, what we're going to do is end up heading down this path here. It's easier. I can go up there, but it circles around. Once I'm here, I have this tunnel system to my left. If I go up, there's another tunnel system. They're both going to lead to the same spot, so that really doesn't matter, which is right here, and that's the Snowfox base. Okay. I'm going to whip back around. The other tunnel would exit right here. And one of the cool things with this, though, is you'll actually find the Pathfinder scan here, right? Because we have some of the discs, and then you can scan the tool right there. So bonus for you if you want it. Let's head back because I know I did that first portion kind of fast. So let's go all the way back over here. And then I'm going to do this next portion underwater. That way you can kind of see what it would look like if you were actually traveling underwater, which would be, right? So I'm here, just following along this wall here. Now, eventually you're going to come to this area where we do have these icebergs, right? This is going to be a little bit trickier because if I'm just along here, I'm probably going to need to try to pop up to get oxygen pretty frequently, right? So I can follow this all the way around. We'll have the Dropbox cache. And once it signals that, that's a good just kind of signal for, we have it right here, for where you should be heading, right? And you can always come back up to the top and get oxygen. That wall, just where we were, just continues to fall along here. This is where you're going to run into the brinicles, which can be a pain. If I don't want to go down that path, I simply just kind of come to the outside here. And you'll be essentially in these icebergs, right? That's a pathway to get up through there. That wall, by the way, that I would have followed along, right here, that tunnel just exits right here. Keep following along this wall. As I pop up, I mean, I'm there, right? And there it is. But just in case that was still confusing, we'll do it another time. And we can just ride along the surface now, which is probably going to be one of the easier ways to do this because you can have oxygen the whole time. And then you can just periodically check underneath and see, like, are we heading in the right direction? But if you have the compass, it's going to be easy. Because the problem you're going to run into with these icebergs is you're going to have to move around them. And then if you don't know what direction you're heading in, you may get turned around and lost, right? Because they keep adding more and more and more, which means it's more and more stuff to move around. And they keep getting bigger and bigger. So I've kind of just moved around all of these, but I'm still heading in the same direction. And eventually you'll run into it. Another thing that's going to be different is I have the weather turned off right now. So when I have the weather on, right, as long as you can keep your bearings, eventually this cabling system will help. But that's the Glacial Bay right there. Another sign, I'm going to take the water volume off for a second. The way the Twisty Bridges works, you kind of have the west and east side of it. East is on this side, right? West is all the way over there. If I really just follow this, eventually the Twisty Bridges kind of just melds itself into this other biome here. Right? That should be, I think it's the kelp, Arctic kelp. If I find this cabling system, that'll lead me there. If not, I know I'm generally heading in the right direction as I follow through this, right? And then it's just those two pathways once you're there. Now, this is a different version, it's a harder version. If you run into the Glacial Connection right here, you go all the way through there. There's a pathway that goes all the way down. This has been in-game. They've just tweaked it a little bit. You cannot bring a sea truck all the way down here without the upgraded depth module, which I don't know where that is currently in-game. But if you do have it, you can go all the way down. But it's not going to fit through this tunnel. Now, they are going to be changing this tunnel also. So that's something to keep in mind, because eventually I don't know if they're going to make it shorter or if they're going to make it bigger so the sea truck can go through there. We'll see. Through this tunnel, go all the way up. Luckily, there is an ice bubble deal here, because oxygen is going to be your biggest problem, so you're going to want multiple oxygen tanks if you can do it. And then once you come up to the top here, you're in the Glacial Basin, but you're going to have to whip all the way around and then try to navigate through all these tunnels to get back over to the Snowfox base. That's just way harder to do. I don't recommend that way. I mean, it looks simple when I'm just floating around and everything like that, but trust me, it's a lot harder to get through all this. And they've even changed this area now. Yeah, they have a wall here now, so you can't even go through this directly anymore. You actually have to go all the way around the map, so that becomes a pain. But that is another variation that you could use if you want to challenge yourself, I guess. So hopefully that helps anybody with this. I know I went multiple times through this, but it's a smaller map. It's not incredibly hard. If I'm looking southwest, I'm just going to head that general direction. Eventually you will find it. So that is going to be it for this video. If you liked the video, hit the like button for me. If you want to continue to follow along with all of my content, hit the subscribe button for me. Thanks so much for watching.